Hello and welcome to Andover's Live and Local. We have it's a business edition, and we are joined today. We're going to be joined with two city officials from Andover, along with a business owner and an Anoka County economic development director. And we're going to also talk all things businesses and featuring some of our local businesses around Andover. We're also going to have an opportunity to learn more kind of about what the future is with the businesses coming to Andover. So stay tuned to Andover's QCTV's Live and Local Andover edition. Again, welcome to QCTV's Live and Local Andover edition, and we are here at Sunshine Park in Andover, one of the youth sports hubs for the City of Andover, along with other great city events, and we'll find out a little bit more about that later. I am joined by the city planner, Peter Hellegers, who is joining us today. Thanks, Peter, for joining us. And if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what you do and how do you work with the administrator on deciding what we're doing here in Andover?
Sure. Well, as a city planner, the city planning staff, we work consistently with property owners, with businesses, developers, realtors on projects that they might have in the community. So a good portion of that time is residential work, but we also work with a lot of the businesses as well. We work with them from the concept of what they want to do, find a right zoning district for what their use might be, and try to make sure that they're guided through the process of approvals that they need to get that project to fruition.
Yeah. So coming out of the pandemic, I would imagine it's switched quite a bit. As you start looking at development, kind of slow down for a little bit. I would imagine your job is fairly busy right now. How long have you been in Andover?
I've been with the city for almost 3 years, and we did have a little dip in there, but for the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a fairly consistent growth of homes, a lot of residential development, and some business development to go along with it as well.
Good. What's your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part is probably when you're able to work with a project and that owner of that project to make it come to fruition. So something that's a good marriage between the community and that, whether it's a business, making sure that that's successful and works well for the owner and also for the community.
Okay, great. So, as you mentioned, Andover is a big residential community and almost kind of bedroom community to the cities. Sure. What are some businesses that you would like to attract to Andover?
Well, the consistent one we hear from residents is trying to attract restaurants. So we're always on the lookout for those when they're available.
Okay.
We do have to work with whatever their demographic they're looking for, whatever their traffic level they're looking for. And so some of them will be more attracted to the sites that we have. But we're always looking for those and other services that can work with our residential community, as well as other businesses that might fit well with the industrial area or other portions of the community.
Okay, good. So obviously Andover is geographically a large spot. There's a lot of green space out there. Yep. What are some spots that are open for Andover around the city?
Well, it is a large geographic area, as you mentioned, but the lower third of the community is the area that's set up for sewer and water, and really accommodates more of the commercial space. So a large portion of the city actually ends up being these kind of larger lots that are more for the residential and rural areas, and they're likely to remain rural. the areas that are designed to kind of attract those commercial spaces are generally off of the main thoroughfares. So Hanson, Bunker Lake Boulevard, Round Lake Boulevard, kind of the primary areas that we see some of that development taking place.
Well, you've seen a big growth on both those large boulevards that you've talking about over the last couple of years, especially around the hub of Hanson and Bunker. That's kind of blowing up a little bit. So tell me about what are we looking for in the future for businesses that are coming to Andover? Can you give us some secrets? Anything out there that would that you can kind of prime the community about?
Well, I mean, generally when we work with a business, until they put in something that's an application and it comes in, and at that point in time it's something that's out there for the public. But once they do have that, we can talk about them. One of the more recent ones that's come through is a mixture of both commercial and residential, is our Andover Crossings development. That's over at the southwesterly corner of the community at County 7 and Bunker Lake Boulevard, and that has a mixture of 4 commercial sites and market rate apartments, so 150 unit market rate apartment building that's under construction now, as well as a senior care facility. And the commercial piece, the first part of that is just starting to go, and that's a Taco Bell site that was recently approved and should start construction soon.
Yeah, it's good to get those corporate restaurants in here, because that's obviously a draw off the interstate. And then when we have a tournament here at Sunshine or any of the great sports parks, it absolutely helps with keeping the money in Andover, which is great. So there's been a couple city meetings, city council meetings recently with talking about, and it's been on QCTV, and it's been talking about a 911 dispatch center. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's a facility that's just north of the sheriff's office. It would be a relocation from their site in Anoka to here in Andover, and it will provide for that emergency service. They're kind of stuck in a basement area in Anoka, so they'd come to a little bit better, more open setting here. And it would just provide for that continuity of service and provide a more modern space for that type of facility to locate.
Okay, well, good. And yeah, we don't want them in the basement. The way technology has gone, it's absolutely important that we find the right specific thing for them. So you're going to promote. If you were going to promote one event here in Andover, what would it be?
Well, I think that the Andover Family Fun Fest is obviously a good community event, but there's so many to choose from. It's a little difficult. But that definitely is one that is a good way for the businesses and the residents to interact in ways where maybe they don't necessarily know those businesses or those civic organizations that happen to be in town. So that's a good one, both from the standpoint of being able to have the family go out to a fun event, and also just to be able to interact with those agencies that maybe you don't get to see on a usual basis.
Yeah, and we were there for the Fun Fest parade this year, and the amount of people, it continues to just build and build and build. It is, and you guys do a great job of promoting that. So, and one last thing before we go, there's a fun entertainment event tomorrow night called Movies in the Park. Tell us a little bit about what you have coming up with that.
Sure. Yeah, that's tomorrow evening, so that's the August 26th. The movie would start at dusk. It's going to be a showing of Encanto, and be right here at Sunshine Park. So bring your blankets and ready to watch a good movie and sing about Bruno.
Free to the public?
Yes.
Okay, great. So. And so you get to enjoy a great night here at Sunshine and watch a movie along with your family for free, which is a lot of fun. And I've been to a couple of them. It's very good. So Peter, hey, thanks for joining us, letting us know what's happening with future city planning going on, and absolutely appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You bet. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the farmers market here in Andover. It's on Tuesday nights. One of my favorite spots to be on Tuesday nights for fresh fruits and vegetables. So let's take a look.
Tomatoes are always good. Cucumbers, broccoli, lettuce, it's all good.
It's a great market. I mean, a lot of people, there's a lot of vendors, a lot of variety here. Well, the best thing about coming to the market is you can support the person that actually is growing the product for you. You're not dealing with a grocery store being a middleman type of person. You're dealing with the directly to the farmer, and it helps the farmer out the most, and you can see where your food is coming from.
Just getting some fresh produce. I do have a garden, but I don't grow a lot of variety, so it's kind of fun to come here and know that I'm getting good quality produce and trying some new things I've never maybe tried before.
I just started selling flowers this year, so this is my first year as a vendor. I've been gardening for forever. I mean, I have always gone to nature and gardening as a way to kind of get grounded again. I work at Augustana Apartments, which is an independent and assisted living senior building, and that can be a really stressful job some days. So when I get home at the end of the day, I immediately go out to the garden. So gardening has always been a way for me to just put some balance back in my life. Last year, or 2 years ago, after the pandemic, and we were able to open up our dining room again at Augustana, I started bringing some cut flowers to the residents to put in their dining room, and I was amazed at their reaction. I mean, they were it helped lighten everything up in the dining room. It started to elicit stories of Grandma's garden. So when I saw their enthusiasm and how much they loved having flowers around, I kind of got bit, I got bit by this little passion bug to bring flowers out and make them available more to the community.
I think Andover community is great. I mean, we have a large turnout here every Tuesday, all the way from basically we start, I think the first week in April, we go to the last Tuesday in October. So I mean, it's like a 24-week season. We're here from start to finish, and it's always full of people here, and they're always, supporting everybody here. That's the one thing I see a lot at the Andover Farmers Market is people want to support every farmer here. They buy this from this person, they'll go to this booth, buy this, go buy this from this booth. So I think that's one of the greatest things, is just the community support.
What's important to me is about bringing the flowers to the community and being here at the farmers market and being able to engage people that are my neighbors, and it's similar to the whole food to table movement. I can bring flowers from the field to the table, just like sustainable farming. So it seemed like a good fit for me, and I'm just really happy to be here today.
Just in general, I wish everyone would come out to your local farmers market, support the local people growing your produce.
It's really important to support our local farmers, and anything that's local is really important. Yeah, for the build community. Get to know your farmers is important too.
We're back, and we're joined with Karen Godfrey, who is the Andover's City Planner and Zoning Commissioner. She is joining us today on Live and Local. Very important job, but I tell you what, a lot of people don't understand what the City Planning Commissioner, Zoning Commissioner does. Can you let us know kind of what your job entails?
Sure, Jim, and I didn't know what it was until I applied for it. The Planning and Zoning Commission is an appointed commission designated by the City Council as an advisory commission. And we really have two primary goals. One, we help the residents to be heard on public issues. And we do that through public hearings.
Okay.
The second thing is to assist City Council by holding those public hearings, by asking questions after we review proposals, by providing our input, and then making a recommendation to City Council.
Okay, so you're an Andover resident.
Yes, I am.
And which is great because you live what you work in and what you do. As you start thinking about the plans and moving forward with some of the serving of Andover, why did you decide to do this? What was the reasoning?
Initially, I wanted to learn more about how our city worked and how it was growing. It seemed to be growing very rapidly from the time that we first moved here in 1999. As I learned more about it, I decided I wanted to be part of the strategic growth. And this is a way that I can have a role in the strategic growth of Andover, making sure that we preserve the nature of our community and that we still have an opportunity to grow and offer all the amenities that our residents expect.
So when you talk about strategic growth, you're talking about future growth, really. I mean,
Absolutely.
and so what are some of the things that you do to look at, to be strategic, to be, to have the foresight for the city, to be able to make sure that we're cutting edge and we're staying with what the residents want?
Well, it's really been done for us. The city has a strategic plan. The city has a comprehensive plan that goes out to 2040 and will soon go out even further.
Okay.
That really lays out the plan for growth, the expected plan. It can change,
Yeah.
and it has been amended a few times. It is officially amended every 10 years. And we look at that first because that shows us the guidance of how the growth is expected to occur. It projects areas that are currently perhaps rural that may come up for development and so forth. So we look to that first. We look at the city code as well, and the city code tells us what type of growth or what type of building is permitted in different areas. But these are not our decisions. We just use that as guidance in our review process and then make our recommendations.
So it sounds, this is a question that I'm burning to ask, but it sounds like you have kind of a job that's already done. City of Andover residents would love to know how can they find out more about these? Is there any meetings up that you have that they can find out where the city is going?
Absolutely. All of our meetings are public.
Okay.
So we have meetings twice a month. They are published. We welcome residents. In fact, I don't think we have enough residents attending the meetings. When we have a public hearing, the public is invited to speak. And the best thing to do is to review the package, to ask questions. It's published in advance. Come to the meeting prepared to ask your questions and to talk.
Okay.
We don't even have a time limit, although we do ask people to be respectful of each other's time so that all of their neighbors who want to speak can have an opportunity. That's a great opportunity to ask questions and to raise concerns. And we've seen it happen over and over again. This is really an important function to bring in the questions from the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are opportunities for people to learn about new business opportunities and what could be happening in their own backyard, and not just things that they can challenge, but things that they can accept and help grow, right?
Absolutely.
So, well, good. So you've been doing this for a number of years, and if you could think back to one project that you're really proud of that you've done and that you'd love to be able to tell everybody that you put your stamp on it.
Well, actually everything that we do is exciting and I think makes a difference, but one that particularly stands out is the current development that you'll see north of Bunker Lake Boulevard and east of County Highway 7. That's a mixed-use property.
Okay.
And so it was really an interesting and quite a learning experience. We have a 3-story apartment building,
Yep.
which is great and fills a housing need in the city. We have an assisted living care center, and we have a proposed commercial spot. And we've gone through many things. We've had meetings over and over again for different pieces as this got put together. So we had public hearings for a conditional use permit for a drive-through window for a restaurant, for example. And the community came out and asked questions about that. We had conditional use permit for a planned unit development public hearing for the apartment building.
Yeah.
This was a great opportunity for people to talk about their concerns about traffic, their concerns about the type of housing that would be there, their concerns about the height of the building and even public safety. The fire chief weighs in as well in advance by working with staff and makes recommendations for public safety for things like that.
Well, it's got to be a challenge because as an Andover resident, I don't know how many apartment buildings are in Andover. Not a lot. So I'm sure that you got some great questions that helped kind of, shape what you can hear, what you want from, or hear what the public wants, and then also be able to help help grow the infrastructure of Andover, right?
Yes.
So, what's your favorite part about being a planning commissioner?
I think my favorite part is the combination of learning about our city and how it can grow and bringing the public into that. The public hearings are really my favorite part. We have the opportunity to hear from the residents, and the hardest part is for me as the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission to make sure that we share information with the public. So when we have QCTV recording the meetings, it's important for us to remember to tell people who can't actually be there what's going on.
Now, it's scheduled on a certain day every month, right?
It is.
What time is that?
It's the 7 p.m.
Okay.
And that's on the second and fourth Tuesday.
Okay, well, good. And so people can kind of write down on their calendar that if they want to be part of it, they could. And the great part about Andover, the City of Andover, is they are welcoming to questions, and like you said, there's no time limit. There's all the silly stuff that happens in other communities is not necessarily part of this. This is a partnership between the city and the public, right?
It is indeed, and city staff is always open to receiving questions. So when people have questions, they should call City Hall and ask.
Yeah, good, great. Anything else you'd like to share before we go?
I think the most important thing is for people to pay attention to what's going on in their community and to take part in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Karen, thank you for joining us today. It's great to hear about the Planning and Zoning Commission and what your input is. I know that you have Andover, the City of Andover, in mind whatever project you're working on, and we as residents really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
You bet. So coming up next, we're going to tantalize your taste buds with a look at one of our new restaurants within Andover, Mrs. Taco, that used to be Tasty Taco.
Birria tacos and craft cocktails. What else could you want? Currently known as Tasty Taco, but soon to be known as Mrs. Taco. It's located in the heart of Andover, Minnesota, and today we're hanging out with Vanessa. Big laughs and homemade food is the theme over at Mrs. Taco, and it's my kind of place.
Well, first of all, it's family owned. It's a small restaurant. We take a lot of pride, a lot of joy in what we do. I don't want to say we are a business, which we are, but more than a business, I want people to feel at home, that when they come, they feel welcome, that they enjoy every bite that they are having, that they are enjoying every drink they are having, because we put our souls and hearts in everything we do. We're very, very passionate about our brand, about our food, our freshness, our drinks, and that's what it's gonna make us different from everybody else.
Vanessa shows us around her beautiful restaurant, from the kitchen to the bar to the table.
Lovely, isn't that beautiful? It is.
Birria tacos is by far one of my favorite dishes. So, let's get a quick history lesson. Roll the tape. Legend says that birria tacos were created in 1950, and the word birria means exquisite, savory dish full of culture and tradition. Makes sense to me.
One of our biggest sellers are the birria tacos. Originally that was made to be cooked with goat, but then we didn't know how well that was going to be, so we did it with beef. And it's been a big success. Andover is being great to us, very welcoming. We feel like at home, yes. We're very, very grateful to be part of the community.
All right, so Mrs. Taco is undergoing a menu change, so stay tuned for that. So to keep up with the latest changes, be sure to follow Mrs. Taco on Facebook and check out their website at tastytaco-mn.com.
we're back here, and if you wanted to start a business, or you've also thought about starting a business and wanting to help it grow, we have got a resource here with Anoka County. We have got the Director of Economic Development with us. His name is Greg Fraham-Gilles, who is working, newly promoted or newly put into this role recently, and he's the Director of Economic Development for Anoka County, and he's here to talk about one of the collaboration and the programs that they help sponsor is Open to Business. So first of all, Greg, welcome. I'm glad you're part of Live and Local today.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the role, and you know, how you've kind of become a business advisor.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my career in urban planning and municipal economic development in the Madison, Wisconsin area. Jumped into commercial real estate for 5 years, primarily working with entrepreneurs or growth stage businesses that are kind of taking that next graduating step and into a new space. So just a lot of advisory on market analysis and just site selection, positioning, that kind of thing. 2017, moved back to Minneapolis in order to open up my own business with my husband, and now back into the economic development world. So kind of have the experience of the public sector, private sector, and entrepreneurship to be able to help area businesses.
I think that's great. I think that's really what the foundation of that office should be, is the understanding the private sector along with being able to help other people grow, and so that's great.
Yeah.
So we talked about, I mentioned the Open to Business. What is
Yeah.
Open to Business program, and tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Open to Business is one of the key focuses of an organization called the Metropolitan Consortium of Community Developers. So they're their own nonprofit, and they work on trying to get businesses, either somebody that's got a good idea that they want to try and commercialize, or an existing business that is in a growth phase, or businesses that are looking at succession planning or exit strategies. So really any stage of that business, being able to work with them. They have business advisors that work with individuals. Carrie is the main person in Anoka County, and Carrie and I work really closely together to be able to help businesses that just have questions.
So how you mentioned that it's not only just for new businesses, it's existing businesses as well. So without giving away all the secrets to everything, if I had an existing business and we were, I want to say stagnant, but needed a push or wanted to have some development, what were some things that you'd kind of help suggest, or what would the program help do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can look at it from a few different perspectives. It might be, reviewing the business plan, seeing if they're on target of where their initial focus was. Could be, helping figuring out new marketing strategies. Could be, working with myself and the county on workforce development. Could be, anything from where their physical location is. Is it the best spot for that business to be? Are there opportunities to grow and expand?
Okay.
Money is a big part of it. So are there opportunities for loan programs for new equipment to increase capacity, a new computer system to increase efficiency with your existing team? It can be, really anything.
Okay. Well, they have those type of consultants all over, but they cost some money. What's the cost to the business owner?
Nothing. Services are free.
Well, that's something that you don't hear very often in business. So that's great. So what kind of business have you helped? Is it just local businesses, or is it Anoka County is huge, but when you think about Andover, what are some things that you've done to help some of the business, well, giving away any trade secrets or anything like that?
Right.
What are some of the things that you've done?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, services are done on a confidential basis, and so people can have that confidence to come talk to us about anything and any problems, and we're not going to share that information out. For the Andover area, I can say within the last couple of years, there's been dozens of businesses that have engaged with the service, with MCCD and with Anoka County. to be able to, either talk about a new idea that, again, they want to commercialize, or existing businesses that are needing to pivot or grow and expand.
Okay, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
What a great service, and I think it's really an unknown. I don't want to say it's completely unknown, but it is something kind of in the background that I think could really help some of the businesses, especially with the changing of habits over the last 2 years. I think that's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Tell me about what's the favorite part of your job? And I know you're fairly new in it. How long
Yeah.
have you been in this role?
In this particular role, about 3.5 weeks.
Okay, about
So,
3.5 weeks.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
August
the
1st.
favorite thing will be
the
finding your way to work.
There's kind of two favorite things. One is being able to work with those individual businesses, those entrepreneurs that are just really excited, really passionate. I've been there, and really starting a business, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's incredibly complicated. And so just being able to be that resource, help them along, it's a really big monumental effort to start a business. And so breaking it down into small chunks and having those light bulb moments with those business owners is really special. For my unique position, I oversee the Anoka County Regional Economic Development Partnership, which is a collaboration of all 21 municipalities. And so being able to work with the local leadership, here in Andover and other municipalities, to be able to learn what their definition of economic development is and help that come to a reality from a more regional perspective.
So if you, granted, you've had 30, you've had 3.5 weeks in it.
Yeah.
So first year goals. What are some first year goals that you have in this position?
The big thing is learning. The big thing is absorbing as much information as possible. Development readiness is one of the key pillars of the partnership, and it's also with today's construction environment. The available inventory is getting eaten up, and so making sure that the community is in a position that if there is a business or a developer that's interested in doing a project, that we're able to get things going, have appropriate regulation to protect the community interests, but make sure that there's not any unnecessary roadblocks, so that we're able to make sure that projects don't get slowed down and potentially at risk, and jobs may not locate here because of development process.
Well, I tell you what, for less than 30 days in, you sound like you have this bull by the horns, proverbially. So anything else you'd like to add, and where can we find this information out?
Yeah, absolutely. Two main resources that I'll mention for the Open to Business program, mccdmn.org, and then there'll be a link for programs, and so you can select that, and again, just get more information on the Open to Business program and services, and again, it's all confidential, so feel free to just reach out. And then for the Anoka County Regional Economic Development effort, anokacountysuccess.org.
Listen, I don't think there's any business out there that has everything going absolutely perfectly. So what a great opportunity, and thanks for letting us know about the Open to Business program, and best of luck to you in your new position. It sounds like you've got this thing rolling on the right direction.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
So next up, we're going to talk about a local car care specialist, Christian Brothers, who's been in Andover for a number of years, and they're going to talk about, give us a little idea of what they do here in Andover to keep your car running.
Christian Brothers Automotive in Andover is the first of its franchise in Minnesota and has been a beacon of light in the community since 2013.
So really it's to be a light to the automotive service industry. Just very simply, that's what we're about. It's to show others honesty, integrity, transparency in everything we do in servicing vehicles.
Paul Klobe is the owner and operator of Christian Brothers Automotive in Andover, and his passion for cars and serving others has been the driving force for all of their business.
I think it's what's at the core of why we do what we do, and that is really joy. That's really what we're about. We fix cars while we serve our community and while we serve our customers. and there's joy behind all of that. We love what we do. For us, it's serving others in what we're doing, and we just happen to fix cars at the same time. We provide full service, almost any service. Think anything a dealership can do, we can do for all makes and models of vehicles.
And what separates their business from the rest in the automotive industry is Christian Brothers' dedicated charity efforts across the country.
One thing that Christian Brothers Automotive does nationwide, including this facility, is every October we have what we call National Service Day. That's a day, Saturday during the month of October, October 15th this year, where all of our employees donate their time. A lot of our suppliers donate their products, and then Christian Brothers provides coverage of the cost of the remaining cost of services provided, but we offer free services to single mothers and families in need, oil changes and other major services that they may need, with the idea that a lot of them can't afford to keep their cars reliable the way that they need to, and so we set aside one day every year to provide those services free of charge.
Go to cbac.com to find out more about Christian Brothers' goals in customer service and what the nice difference is all about, putting an ease to any and all of your car repair concerns.
You know, we're blessed to be here and honored to serve the community of Andover. That's really, at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. What I care about as the owner is I want to make sure that people, no matter where they bring their vehicles, are being serviced honestly, correctly, and that they feel comfortable with the service that they're receiving, and that's really what we're about. We love to serve people, we love to serve the community, and you know, we're going to continue to do so. They can contact us directly at the store on the store number, and they can talk to actually any of our employees. They're aware of what that National Service Day is and what that's about, and any of us could provide that information and assistance.
Welcome back, and we are joined with the owner of the Round Barn Trading Company, which is located on Bunker, and everyone knows it as a Big Red Barn. Julie Davis, thanks. You're the owner of the Big Red Barn, and just really a historic spot in Andover. Tell us a little bit about the history behind the Big Red Barn and how you got involved.
Well, so the barn is it's been, the round barn and a farmhouse were built around the early 1900s.
Okay.
And so in the 1950s, George and Maya Adolphson purchased it. He was a construction worker. She was the traveling. She was the bookkeeper. They needed to settle down, so they bought that farm and then they built it up. And so they're from Sweden, so dairy farming, and that was his downtime while he got involved with the Peterson family, and that started the Adolphson-Peterson Construction Company.
Okay, wow.
So his downtime was with that, and they ran it as a farm until as the community knew and always loved it because it was a pretty prominent farm. Yeah. And then in the late 90s, George had already passed and Maya couldn't take care of it, but her wishes were not to leave. So the family then decided with his construction company to have senior housing built on the farm for their mom so she wouldn't have to leave. So when they were done, they left one piece of the farm so it wasn't gone, which was the round barn. And then they built, if you visit it, it has the senior housing all around it. Yeah. So it's just a beautiful rebuilt version of the farm, of what they did. And so that's kind of how it's there. A lot of customers are surprised when they pull up that, you know, why are you in the middle of this? You know, this doesn't make sense. You should be out on a field. But it was built so their mom could have a place to stay still.
Oh, that's great. And Farmstead is a wonderful facility.
It is. Presbyterian Homes does a great job.
They really do. And I've had families stay there and very, very comfortable. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be challenging to have a historic building and keep that history and run a business out of it. How do you do that?
Well, you just kind of go with it. I have great landlords. You know, Presbyterian Homes does a good job of keeping care of, taking care of it. This was our first, in the spring we got air conditioner units put in. So for the last 35 years as a gift shop, I'm only the fourth shop owner.
Okay. Wow.
everybody's ran it with no air conditioning, and customers are usually, they're expecting to come in to shop and and it's hot. You got 20 fans running, and you're just like very limited with what you can do. And this year, I was very tickled to work with them to be able to get that in there. So there's modern things that we can do to help make it a little more workable.
Yeah, and you still need to preserve what it started out to be, correct? I mean,
You do. Everything inside is still the beams. You can go upstairs. It's not open to the public, but the upstairs is, there's bats and a few things up there. They sometimes come down to visit us, but.
Oh, that's crazy. So how long have you owned it, and how long have you been in Andover?
So I've been in Andover 22 years, and I've owned it. I've been the owner for 7 years. We're coming up on our 7th year. So I originally started as an artisan selling things there.
Okay.
And it just came kind of something that just fell in the lap of a previous owner needing to sell, and it just, the timing, was just right. So.
Well, that's great. So the people, if you haven't been to the Red Barn before, what would be the thing that you would say, hey, listen, this is what you need to check out?
Well, I always tease our customers that, you never know what you're going to find, like in Grandpa's barn. Same thing with ours, except ours is just newer and cleaner and smells better. So it's a mix of, we love working with local people. So I work with a little over 100 local artisans, and they bring their goods in. I sell it for them. And then we also have some vintage items, some upcycled furniture items, and then retail. So I do sell paint, I do sell soup, I do sell clothing and journals. It's a gift shop is is what the barn is set up. So there really literally is something for everybody in there, from old saws and canoe hanging upside down to soap for grandma to soup for dinner.
So it works well with the farmers market across the street at times,
It does.
or kind of kitty corner from
yeah,
there.
It works wonderful. It's right across the street, and we're open 10 to 5. Pretty much every day, and
so come to the Round Barn first, and then go to the farmers market.
Yeah.
What every business has has where you're at and where you're going. What are some of your future plans?
We just want to keep growing the business. It's such a established part of the community, and then we just love seeing the connections that the people are making, and they know it's a place to come for that gift, something unique, something different, something handmade. I just love what we're building with the community, and they just know it's there. They know we're going to be there.
Yeah.
So we just want to keep growing it.
Good. That's outstanding. So you've been in Andover for 22 years. Reception has been great. What's been so good about Andover?
Andover, I mean, it's a beautiful community. We have a little bit of everything here, and still small town. What I love best as a business owner is the community support. That shop local, supporting local, small business. We have it here. We have some great businesses, and our community is huge in supporting. Because actually, last year in my 6th year of business, I write my checks back to my artisans direct, for their sales, and the community support for their shopping. We actually crossed the $1 million mark.
Did you really?
Of money
That's outstanding.
back into their pockets.
Oh,
and that's the support. That's how much support comes from the community shopping and buying those local handmade items, and that's huge.
Do you have a lot of Andover residents that you consign with, or is it okay?
Yeah,
Great.
yep, we do. We have a lot of local people, and I've even worked a few with the residents in the farmstead that used to knit or bring me some things, and you get those relationships.
Oh, that's great. So, anything else you'd like to add with about the Big Red Barn?
I just encourage everybody to come check us out. I have locally roasted coffee made every day, and just come get a cup of coffee, and we're there 7 days a week. They can just come in, and we love to visit with them, so it's good conversation.
Yeah, so 10 to 5 Monday through Sunday.
10 to 5 Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
We are open till 7 on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And then Sundays are shorter day, 12 to 4.
Okay. And can they find any information about you on the website?
Yep. So roundbarntradingcompany.com is the website. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. They can find us easily out there. And this Saturday we have an artisan market from 9 to 5 in all around the barn with 30 artisans, White Rabbits, some of our local restaurant, and a waffle truck. Ice cream treat, and then the farmstead residents are giving free breakfast parfaits and a coffee bar from 9 to noon.
Oh, you're kidding me. Well, that sounds great.
Yep.
So this Saturday
Yep.
from 9 to
5.
9 to 5, and we'll go to the big round barn and have a chance.
Yep.
Julie, thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining us
Thank
today,
you.
and continued success with your business
Thank you.
here in Andover.
We love it here. Thank you. Yes.
Great. Awesome. Well, coming up next, during our COVID pandemic, one thing changed in all facets of life, and that was restaurants. And one of our local Andover families came up with a way to get food to you in the White Rabbit Kitchen and Food Truck. And we'll take a look at what they have going on as they've moved into a new building.
Yes, hi, I'm the owner of White Rabbit Kitchen, me and my wife Tammy. To make a long story short, because of the pandemic, I lost my corporate culinary position. And my wife Tammy and I were working through that summer of 2020 where I was basically home every day, cooking food at home and doing different things to kind of keep myself busy. By the end of the summer, we had kind of saw the writing on the wall that this previous job wasn't going to come back anytime soon. So we kind of collectively said, you know what, let's do this, and started doing deep dive research on getting a food truck business started. And it happened relatively quickly. We ended up purchasing and having a food truck or trailer built from scratch, and it was done at in November of 2020. And we kind of went off and running and worked through that winter, and next thing you know, here we are. So kind of crazy, happened pretty fast. I never would have guessed that in the course of, under 2 years, we'd go from just starting a food truck to owning a restaurant. So, but it's been awesome. We knew we wanted to smoke meats. I come from a background of where I rotate the menus quite a bit, sometimes even on a daily basis. That was just where my culinary background was. So we knew we wanted to be flexible and do different things. We didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves to one cuisine or doing one thing. But I did want to do some smoked meats. Not barbecue per se, but just feature smoked meats in like an American bistro style menu. So sandwiches, soups, salads, grain bowls, all that fun stuff. And so the name White Rabbit comes from the fact when I was a kid and in Scouts, the Scoutmaster would tell us when the smoke would get in our eyes, close your eyes and say, I love white rabbits, I love white rabbits, and the smoke would go away. And so we kind of thought, well, it's kind of a fun little play on the smoke thing without necessarily calling it Rob's Barbecue or whatever, since we didn't want that stigma of being a barbecue restaurant. Great feedback from both. I think the city was very excited to have us. Just obviously another option because they hear feedback from the community about wanting different resources, restaurants, places to go, different retail. So they were excited to have us open. And then also tons of just great feedback from the customers about just other options. We think we fill that void of kind of between where like a bar grill or maybe like a fast food. We kind of touch a totally different dimension where people can come in and sit down and have a different dining experience, maybe without the TVs and that kind of thing, maybe a little more chill environment, but higher quality food than you're going to get at some of the other fast casual restaurants. Much more chef-driven, culinary-focused dishes without being too high-end, where people can kind of find a nice price point, a nice medium in there. The food truck is just ever evolving. It's fun. We do different things. Like I said, one day could be totally separate from the next day at any given event. We like to switch it up based on, the type of event, the type of customers that are going to be there, where it's at, the time of the year, utilizing, the ingredients that make sense during that season. And then we will be planning on doing the same thing at the restaurant as well.
Right on. Thank you. You bet. You always do so great. Thank you.
I mean, I love getting when the customer gets served, and this happens a lot at the food truck and at the restaurant, when they get served and they eat their food, and they specifically come back up to tell me and or the staff how great their food was. I mean, especially when we roll out new menu items and they come back and they're like, that needs to be on the menu every day. That one and 1A is just when I get to dedicate myself to creating new recipes. Obviously that's kind of where this whole thing spurned from, right? It's just love working with food. So when I get the time, especially the quiet time in the morning, to just start working on the next recipe, that's my happy place for sure. I think we do a great job of offering menu items that are recognizable, but we put a nice twist on them. So, you know, throughout the years of working with certain ingredients and different menu items, I think this is kind of a culmination of all that. And so I really think if people want to come up and try something, like I said, that they've seen on a menu before, like everybody's seen a club sandwich on a menu before, or like a French dip or something, but we take that extra step to go from good to great, and that's kind of our philosophy here is just come in and try our food and have a great dining experience.
Welcome back, and owners Rob and Tammy have a goal to expand the White Rabbit kitchen and food truck to another venue. They've just opened up, as we saw, here at Clock Tower Plaza, and great food, and you can check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Very, very community involved, and they're wonderful owners and have been really trying to put their foot forward in the community. And not only that, the food has been outstanding. So we want to thank you for joining us with Live and Local. We've had an opportunity to talk to city officials about the upcoming plans. We've had an opportunity to talk to the county commissioner on economic development, and he told us about the Open to Business program that you can sign up for if you have an idea for a business or have an existing business that might need some help. And finally, we had an opportunity to talk with Julie Davis from the Big Round Barn here in Andover. And so it has been all business and a great opportunity to really promote Andover with some of their locally owned small businesses. That's it for today with QCTV Live and Local Andover Edition. Thanks for joining us.